Are Brazil, Colombia, and Thailand actually played out? Should you still go to these places in 2025 and beyond? I'm going to answer that question in this video because recently I was watching some videos by someone who I admittedly have not watched their content before, and frankly I didn't watch the entirety of these videos that he created. I just listened to see what places he was talking about so that I could respond to it. And so with that said, I will make this brief, I will make this short, and I will say, in my opinion, he couldn't be more far from the truth, but let's delve a little bit deeper into that. So here is what I would say. He was saying these places are played out because people know about them, so many people are going there, yada yada yada, and I would say so many people are going to these places because they have a lot to offer, they offer good value for money. It's like saying going to Rome or going to Paris is played out because they get some of the most tourists in the entire world. Yeah, they get some of the most tourists in the entire world because it has so much to offer. There's so much to see, so much to do. There's great food, great experiences to be had. It could be played out for him because he's been there for so long, or he's spent so much time there, or he's traveled to so many different places that they have become overrated to him. But if you're a first-time traveler, then these places aren't going to be overrated. Brazil is a ginormous country. There's no way it is played out. There's so many different cities, so many things that it has to offer. There's so much diversity, there's so much biodiversity in that country that it is a little bit delusional to say these places are played out. And this guy, I believe, is in the Passport Bro community. So maybe he's talking from like a purely dating perspective, if that's what you want to call how prices are getting inflated and stuff like that. But even then, I'm not buying what he's selling, because I believe he actually talked about like Rio de Janeiro and then probably Medellin and Bangkok or Pattaya. I would assume Pattaya because that's where like the P for P culture is. And that kind of gets back to like, why are you traveling? Are you just traveling to P for P? If that's what you're doing, I mean, you're free to do whatever you want. That's not what I recommend doing on my channel. I think you should travel for other reasons. Learning about different cultures, learning about history, seeing some of the historical things that interest you, interacting with different societies, and learning how the world actually functions outside of what the United States propaganda machine has taught us about the other countries in the world and the other economies and the cultures. And so if you're just going to any of these places for straight P for P, I have no idea if they're played out because I've never done that in my entire life. And cue the idiots in the comments down below who are going to say, well, you either pay directly or indirectly. Shut up. Don't want to hear it. Don't care. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And if you cannot logically connect why those things are completely different to each other, then you are, let's just say, God help you. But with that little rant aside, if that's all you're traveling for, then yeah, these places could be played out. But I would urge you, and I would tell you, you're probably missing out on a lot of the travel experience if you aren't doing things outside of that. I mean, someone recently told me, oh, that's like the most expensive sightseeing trip in the world. You could just go to like, I don't know, somewhere else in the United States. And it's like, yeah, you don't experience different cultures. And like, in full transparency, when I move to a different place, I am going to be dating the women there. But that is one aspect of what I talk about. I also talk about lowering your taxes, lowering your cost of living, so you can put more money into building your business, more money into your investments, more money into working towards retirement, to growing your wealth, to just living an overall higher quality of life. And so for that reason, if you're going to these places for long term to do the things that I said, no, they aren't played out. And arguably, Brazil, Colombia, and Thailand are three of the best places in the entire world to do that because of the strength of the US dollar to the strength of the local currency. It will allow you to increase your quality of life, lower your cost of living, and do everything I just told you about. You're going to be able to retire quicker. You're going to be able to afford nicer things. You're going to be able to get nicer dinners. You're going to be able to pay for more vacations. And ultimately, you are going to have freedom, flexibility, and control over your life like you didn't have in the United States. In fact, I was just watching a video about a guy who moved from the United States to Thailand, and his friends were like, oh, now that you're made a little bit more money, you should move back. And he was like, that is like one of the stupidest things I could ever do. That would be hustling backwards. Why would I move to Thailand, lower my cost of living, don't have to really worry about the rat race or ever worry about money ever again, because that's how much the difference is when you go from a place where you're living paycheck to paycheck to going to a place where you're probably in the top 10% of earners just by moving there with a Western income, and you have this huge burden, huge monkey, and huge amount of stress lifted off your back. And for the first time, he could afford like a nice penthouse because it's like $300 a month. He could get a big TV. He could get a PlayStation 5. He could get some of those luxuries and amenities that he couldn't get before. And see, that's the big reason I say it depends on what you're traveling for. But these places are not played out if you're traveling for the right reasons. If you're traveling for the wrong reason, I shouldn't even say the wrong reasons, because if you want to travel for that sole purpose, that is your decision. I don't really care. Doesn't affect my life. It's your life. Do what you want with it. I just think you're missing out on the bigger picture. Now, anyway, with all that said, we are going to wrap up this video. Long story short, as I said in the beginning, these places are not played out. I would encourage you to go visit these places because a lot of them actually have a lot to offer outside of the cost of living benefits. There's a lot of cool history, a lot of great food, a lot of good things to see and do. And if you're there long term, dating the local women is actually really fun, really interesting, and it's a great change of pace from dating Western women. No matter what your thoughts are on feminism and wokeism and all that stuff, it's kind of interesting to just go date other cultures and see what their culture's like, what dating's like in other cultures, and what experiencing those cultures are like. But with all that said, let's wrap up the video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace, much love.